Imagine you own an ambulance in London. Every time that vehicle moves, you're burning fuel, paying a highly trained crew, paying for insurance, maintenance, medical equipment, and compliance. And here's the crazy part. You can spend hundreds of thousands of pounds building the business before you've even made your first pound of profit. So why would anyone do it? Because private ambulance companies aren't necessarily waiting for 999 calls. They make money from a completely different side of healthcare, transporting patients, supporting events, working with hospitals, care providers, insurers, and other organisations. But after paying for the ambulance, the crew, fuel, insurance, and everything else, how much money is actually left? Let's break down the brutal economics of running a private ambulance service in modern London. When most people hear ambulance service, they immediately think of emergency 999 calls. But a private ambulance company can operate very differently. Instead of responding to every emergency across London, private operators can provide services such as non-emergency patient transport, hospital transfers, event medical cover, repatriation, and specialist transport. That means the business isn't simply selling an ambulance ride. It's selling availability, trained staff, equipment, reliability, and time. And in London, that reliability can be extremely valuable. But there's one massive problem. An ambulance sitting in a depot isn't making money. It's still costing money. Let's start with the biggest physical asset, the ambulance itself. A professional ambulance isn't just a van with a flashing light. It needs specialist medical equipment, communication systems, patient handling equipment, storage, safety equipment, and regular maintenance. And depending on the specification, a properly equipped vehicle can represent a very serious investment. Then there are the ongoing costs: fuel, tyres, servicing, repairs, medical equipment, vehicle insurance, cleaning and infection control procedures, and depreciation. And unlike a normal delivery van, an ambulance can be heavily used. Every mile adds wear. Every shift puts another hour on the engine, and every breakdown can mean something even worse: lost revenue, lost. But here's where the economics gets even more brutal. The ambulance isn't the most important asset, the people are. You need trained staff capable of safely handling patients and operating within the appropriate regulatory and clinical requirements. And you can't simply hire someone tomorrow and put them in an ambulance. Training, qualifications, recruitment, scheduling, uniforms, payroll, and employment costs all add up. And here's the problem with staffing. Your customers don't care if your employee called in sick. The ambulance still needs a crew, so you may need backup staff. That means the company can sometimes be paying for capacity that isn't generating revenue every minute, and that is one of the biggest challenges in service businesses. You don't just pay for the work you're doing, you pay to be ready for the work. So where does the revenue come from? A private ambulance company can potentially have multiple revenue streams: patient transport, hospital-to-hospital transfers, care home transport, event medical services, private healthcare contracts, corporate or institutional clients, and specialist transport services. That diversification matters because relying on one type of customer can make the business extremely vulnerable. Imagine owning 5 ambulances but having no contract work next week. You still have 5 vehicles, you still have staff, you still have insurance, you still have maintenance, but your revenue could suddenly drop. That's why contracts and utilization are so important. Here's the number that can make or break the entire business: utilization. Think about it. An ambulance generating revenue for 10 hours a day is very different from one sitting unused for 10 hours. The vehicle has almost the same fixed costs either way. So the goal isn't simply get more ambulances. It's keep the existing ambulances productive. A company with fewer vehicles that are consistently booked could potentially outperform a larger company with expensive assets sitting idle. And London creates both an opportunity and a problem. There is enormous population density and healthcare demand, but there is also traffic, congestion, parking problems, long travel times, and unpredictable delays. A journey that looks profitable on paper can become much less attractive when an ambulance spends hours stuck in traffic. And then come the costs most people never think about: regulatory compliance, training, recruitment, vehicle downtime, administrative staff, scheduling, technology, legal and professional costs, medical supplies, laundry and cleaning, and insurance. Then there's the biggest risk of all: something going wrong. In healthcare, mistakes aren't just bad for your reputation, they can create serious financial and operational consequences. That's why this isn't a normal transport business. You're operating in healthcare, and that means the cost of cutting corners can be enormous. So, is running a private ambulance service in London a goldmine? Not automatically. The business has attractive characteristics, essential services, potential recurring contracts, multiple revenue streams, and valuable specialist expertise. But the costs are relentless. An ambulance can be expensive even when it's sitting still. Staff need to be paid even when demand fluctuates, and one poorly utilized vehicle can quietly destroy your margins. So the real business isn't owning ambulances. It is keeping expensive assets and highly trained people working efficiently, while maintaining an extremely high standard of care. And that's the brutal economics of running a private ambulance service in modern London.